So I told you I was going to give you a wild card. Who's the guy?
Ambry Thomas.
Who's
Ambry
this?
Ambry Thomas.
Okay.
Look at his pro day numbers. I think it was 4.37 40, 38-inch vertical. This is a kid who is just scratching the surface of what he's going to be. And when he did play in his junior year, his first and only year as a starter, you saw him really flash, and you're like, man, this dude. And it was rendered more impressive if you understand the background heading into that season. That summer between his sophomore and junior years, he had a bout with colitis. They didn't know what it was at the time, but he was hospitalized for weeks. His weight dropped to about 150 pounds. They didn't think that he was going to be ready to go for the start of the season. They thought it was going to be Big Ten play before Ambry Thomas was back. But here he is running stairs in the hospital, getting his weight back up. By the time fall camp rolls around, he's back up to 175, 180. By the time the season rolls around, he's 190 and starting for Michigan in game one. So it tells you something about his drive, his commitment, and his sheer athleticism. So he pairs that mentality that I love to see in football. I like edge, man, and he brings that to the table, but he pairs it with outstanding athleticism. So he's a guy that you could put on the outside. He had to learn to be more physical because he could always run. I think he's done that as he's gotten bigger. You can put him over the slot. If you want him to play nickel in the NFL, he can do that. He didn't do it much or any at Michigan because Don Brown was so concerned about teams running the football. He always wanted a safety at nickel. But in the NFL, where it's more about coverage, oh, man, he can absolutely do that.
Yeah,
so you look at he has the prototypical size, Scott. He has the mentality. And he's spent the year working on his body even more. He's a guy that I think his best football is without question ahead of him. And I would not be at all surprised if a few years down the line, we look back at this draft and we say, Ambry Thomas was the best guy to come out in this Michigan class.
Well, that's a bold statement. And yes, the NFL is a passing league without a doubt. Being down here in the South, going to an SEC school, I was always about defense. You put your best athletes on defense, but shoot, now you're not allowed to tackle. You're not allowed to cover. You're not allowed to hit the quarterback. I'm like, why would anybody play defense? So if you can find somebody with that mentality, and what did we say just a few minutes ago? You can't measure their heart, but you can damn sure tell if they've got one. Ambry Thomas sounds like he fits the bill.
Absolutely.
So, and let me do a call here. Ben Rolfe, Pro Football Network, has 3 months ago Ambry Thomas in the first round to the Green Bay Packers.
Wow.
Everybody else is about 4 or 5 in their mock drafts, but let's see if let's see how Ben Rolfe, that might be his calling card not too long from now.
Yeah, I don't know that he, I think they wanted to maybe see him, a year removed from that colitis.
Yeah, and you don't even have, if you're Ben, you don't say, listen, you can say, listen, they took him in the 5th, but he ended up being a first-round talent. I win.
Yeah, he's a steal in the 5th round. Second, third round, I think you're right there in the value department. Okay. If you get him in the 5th, you are a steal, and you're killing the game if you get Ambry Thomas in the 5th round, in my opinion.